On this daredevil episode of MythBusters,
Okay, go!
Adam and Jamie get a grip
I think I had a nightmare just like this one.
as they test that old movie myth, can you cling to a moving car?
Come on, give it to me.
Then Carrie, Tori, and Grant
Lockdown number 3.
break out more liberating jailbreak myths.
Son of a...
Can you floss yourself to freedom?
So you get out of this one.
Or shoot yourself from servitude
This is my favorite part. I'm not gonna lie.
with a cannon and a ball and chain?
That was cool.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
That's significant data.
and Jamie Heineman.
I think we're going to set something on fire.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Joining them, Grant Imahara, Tori Belleci,
I don't think this one's gonna work. It's just too big.
and Carrie Byron.
I'm starting to get the idea that this shouldn't be done inside.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Why are you working out?
Our next myth, man, we're gonna need all the arm strength we can get.
Why's that?
It's a classic Hollywood action movie staple, the car roof cling.
Oh, you mean where somebody jumps on top of a car and tries to hang on while it's driving?
Yeah, but the driver's trying everything he can to shake him off.
And we've got to test this. It sounds dangerous.
And fun.
Our specialty.
Getting a grip has been the speciality of stuntmen since motors and movies first teamed up. But in reality, is clinging onto a wild ride really plain sailing?
You know, hanging on to a car is one thing, but falling off, we could get seriously hurt.
Yeah, I've been thinking that too. That's why I've been picturing in my mind a crane arm that would come out of the trunk of a car and go over the top of it.
Then we could tie into it, and that would allow us to show one of us losing his grip, but not losing his life.
Exactly, and I think we should make it long enough not only to test holding onto the roof, but also being able to hold on to the hood.
Well, we can build it, but we'll have to do a thorough job of it, because our lives are going to depend on it.
They will. So, if you're a stuntman in Hollywood and you're holding onto the roof of the car like this while it's driving, chances are you're wearing a harness that tethers you to the car. Similarly, if you're on the hood, you're also wearing that kind of system. This isn't going to work for us because Jamie's going to try and shake me off of this car, and it's got to be demonstrable that I'm being shaken off the car without letting me hit the ground, which tells me that some kind of cable tether isn't good enough. My legs could slip over and hit the ground. There's a lot of problems with that from a safety standpoint.
And in theory, their overhead crane idea should overcome those problems. But in practice, the boys are baffled at how to build it. So, cue the brainstorm.
Shatter out this back window.
Get away with using a counter spring of some sort.
It's gonna be like a double-masted thing.
And that's all that additional weight that we don't need up high. If it does fail, whoever's up there, we're in deep trouble.
After a frightening 2 hours of back and forth,
Okay.
the MythBusters finally have a plan.
Okay, good. I like that.
Oh, looks good.
A plan that's all about junk in the trunk. They're going to cut into the trunk to get to the frame. To this, they'll weld a steel tower that they'll attach to a crane beam. The crane beam will link to a safety harness T-bar that they'll clip into while holding the roof and the hood.
Attention, former car. Prepare to be modified. Resistance is futile.
Ain't that the truth? Especially because there's a savage on the loose. Now may seem like a good time to say, well, there's your problem.
This used to be a car, right?
A few minutes ago, even.
With the car frame exposed and the trunk tower support system time-lapsed into place, next the boys strain with the crane.
When you just heard the VO guy saying we were straining with the crane, I want to point out that's not entirely true. This is not a crane part we're using. It's triangular antenna truss, used in radio towers and stuff like that. But the reason we're using it is because its triangular structure, just like in a crane, affords it a tremendous amount of lateral strength.
So tremendous that it's ideal for supporting the weight of the odd MythBuster.
Okay, well, that works for me.
And with that in position, that just leaves Adam's T-bar safety system. But will it get the Heinemann seal of approval?
Well, as usual, it's way more complicated than I would do. I would have done it much simpler, but I would have taken much more time to do it than you getting this whole thing done. So it works for me.
Good.
And it better work for Adam, too, because it's this T-bar that will literally hold the MythBusters hanging by a thread.
The rig is almost done, but still it lacks that visual punch that I'm looking for. I'm about to add it.
With a fresh coat of high-speed pink, the Klingon car rig is ready to roll. But, Houston, we have a problem.
Well, unfortunately, the car won't start. Adam was really quick with cutting this all apart, but maybe he was a little too quick. At this point, it looks like Adam cut the electrical power to the fuel pump. So if we can find that wire and hook it up again, then we'll be back in business.
It's always something.
It's always something, and it's usually Adam's fault. But after a bit of hot wiring, the guys are revved up and ready for the test track. And what could be the ride of their lives.
All right, so what's up with the convict suits again? Have your shady past caught up with you?
Well, actually, yes. Remember a few months back when we devoted an entire episode to prison break myths and we rappelled down a wall using bed sheets, toilet paper, and hair?
Of course. And we escaped.
Yeah, well, the trouble is, the fans want more. Ever since that episode, we've been inundated with ideas for new prison break myths.
Now, are you sure these are fans and not prisoners sending in these requests?
We're busting out of here, see?
Yep, in one of the all-time most memorable myth-busting moments, ropes made of bed sheets,
God.
human hair,
I see split ends.
and toilet paper successfully aided and abetted a 14-story prison break.
All right, so what's up this time?
Well, two things. First of all, the fans think that you can escape from prison using a little muscle and a lot of this.
What?
Yeah, they reckon you can cut through the bars using dental floss.
All right, what else?
Well, the other one's a little bit higher octane. Supposedly, back in the day, a prisoner took the ball from his old-timey ball and chain, put it in the prison's ceremonial cannon, and launched himself over the fence to freedom.
But first up is the fan-fueled fable that flossing can set you free. And back at the big house, Alameda County Courthouse Jail,
Hey, Uncle Billy.
some of the team are about to get an inside look at the myth.
Lockdown number 3. There you go. There's some dental floss. I'm gonna go talk to JD. Good luck getting out of this jail cell.
Dude, is this really locked?
Dead man walking.
That's really locked.
So while our duo of desperate dental hygienists attempt to break out,
Oh, look. I removed some plaque.
Tori gets some inside info from friend of the show, Sergeant J.D. Nelson.
So have you ever heard of this myth, using dental floss to cut through a jail bar?
Well, I think that'd be pretty difficult just because dental floss doesn't have a lot of grit. But given enough time, I guess anything's possible.
What do you think of this? There's silica in most tooth whitening toothpaste. We could use it as an abrasive.
Oh, yeah, a little bit extra
Yeah.
to accelerate the process.
Yeah.
That abrasive silica, or sand as many of us know it, is a grinding agent used to remove those stubborn stains. But will it remove those stubborn steel bars?
Hey, knock that off.
Troublemakers. We're gonna have to keep them locked up for a long time.
So cutting the bars is a definite, penal code violation.
Bound to happen eventually.
After 2 hours of hard labor, one thing has become very clear. Testing the myth manually is not feasible in the time available.
Now, granted, this would take a long time to do by hand.
How far?
Made it through the paint, but fortunately, I have a secret weapon. And it could have something to do with special robot knowledge.
So they're going to head back to the shop, where Grant, staying true to the spirit of the myth, wants to use only materials he could find on the inside.
She's out of control! She's out of control! So, trying to free ourselves using dental floss, flossing by hand, didn't really work out. But fortunately, I have a backup plan, and it involves this. This is your average, everyday cassette recorder player, which I have stolen. I'm going to use this to make a machine that will floss for me.
So Grant goes to work, turning an old school tape recorder into a dental flossing robot.
Easier than I thought.
While Tori builds the kind of jail every inmate dreams of. One with just one wall.
Now, I know this isn't a real jail, but I wasn't trying to make a jail. But we needed something to test whether or not dental floss could cut through a steel bar. So I made this. Let's see if Grant can floss his way out of this one.
So my flossing robot is finally complete. It incorporates the guts of a standard cassette tape recorder with a specially modified cassette that contains, instead of tape, dental floss. I'm gonna set this up on the bars and go to it. But I'm also going to incorporate Carrie's idea, which is to put a little bit of toothpaste on it to get that little extra bit of abrasive. Here we go. Okay, so we've got a little jam. We've already got a little minor problem with the flossing machine.
So it's back to the drawing board.
I've made a few changes to the dental floss machine,
where Grant throws everything he has at the problem. But after a full day's work and several failed prototypes,
hopefully the 27th time is a charm.
He throws the problem at the wall.
I don't think this is gonna work.
This baby right here got plenty of miles on it, but she's still good for plenty more. And if you buy it today, we'll throw in the jumbo luggage rack for free.
The MythBusters are testing whether you can really cling to a wild ride car roof, as Hollywood would have us believe. But with their rumble rig in transit to the test site, Adam first wants to take a tangent.
For reasons that are about to become crystal clear, the test I have in mind requires a piece of a car.
Well, for car parts, it looks like he's come to the right place. But why?
This whole myth is about hanging onto a car. So, of course, the first thing we want to know is how much strength can we apply to holding on? Like this. If I'm on the car like this, how much poundage can I apply right here? So what I thought to do is cut out this section of the car, take that section back to the shop, and throw some weight on it until we find out what the limit of human strength on that grip really is.
And the human in question is Mr. James Heineman.
How much can I hold with my hands? Let's see. I can deadlift about 450 pounds. I'm guessing at least 225, 250, maybe even more. We'll find out.
That we will. But why is Jamie lying down?
The configuration of the rig with Jamie lying chest down is specifically because it's not about how much his body, his shoulder, any of his muscles except those in his hand and his forearm can hold, and thus we've isolated that here experimentally.
Okay, well, let's get this show of strength on the road.
How much weight do you want to start with?
150.
Really? 6 weights?
Sure.
Okay.
At 150 pounds, it's smooth sailing.
How much more do you think you can take?
Let's try 100.
100?
Yeah.
Okay, stud.
250 is the same.
I'm just getting started.
As is 275.
How's that, Mr. Heineman?
Let's do it.
But at the 300 mark...
How's that?
That's it. I can do that, but only for a few seconds.
Remarkably, Jamie's grip strength is almost twice his body weight, and that's good news for this myth. After all, with a grip as strong as that, hanging on for dear life could prove to be very doable indeed. And at the Alameda runway, it's time to put that theory to the test.
To recap, the myth that we're testing is one you've seen in countless action movies. It's that you could somehow keep holding on to the outside of a car while the driver is actively trying to shake you off. We've done some scale tests, and Jamie has shown that he has about 300 pounds of holding strength per hand. We've built a full-size rig to hold on to us in case we can't hold on to the car, and we've come out here to the Alameda runway to test it full scale. Yeah.
But before trying to shake a Mythbuster, the boys first want to test the rig with someone a little more expendable.
So, currently Buster is bolted into our safety rig for a stop test. It's a perfect opportunity for me to show you how it ought to work. He's on a track that runs fore and aft. Jamie's gonna run this car up to speed, slam on the brakes as hard as he can, and at that point, Buster is gonna slide all the way forward and stop. And hopefully, we're gonna learn how safe this rig is to use by watching what happens to poor Buster.
And unlike Adam or Jamie, poor old Buster won't be holding on at all.
All right, Mr. Heineman, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Start your engine and begin the untethered Buster stop test in 3, 2, 1, go.
Jamie floors it and takes the car up to 45 before slamming on the brakes. The good news is that the rig did indeed hold Buster off the tarmac. The bad news is that pain-free it wasn't.
Here's what scared me about that test. This guy right here, he's made for firemen to carry up and down stairs, to drop in burning, smoky buildings. He's made to take the kind of abuse you just saw and come back for more. He's engineered for that. I'm not. If I was to take that trip down this track and hit the end and bend like he did, I wouldn't be myth-busting for much longer.
So nervous are Adam and Jamie about safety that they run Buster through more tests.
Go!
Brake tests. Swerve tests. Curve tests. But none of it makes for pleasant viewing. And that makes what Adam's about to say all the more surprising.
Well, from my perspective, that test was lovely and successful as far as the rig was concerned. We put a huge amount of stress on it, and it is absolutely solid. I think that it's time to give Jamie Buster's harness and strap him to the rig.
Yeah, that rig is looking real good. But Buster's back-breaking performance is not filling our next contestant with joy.
If I can't hold on, my big concern is it going to keep me safe? I mean, I don't want to snap my neck when I reach the end of my travel. So I'm going to hold on real nice.
And real hard, Jamie, because this myth could get dangerously ugly.
Lockdown number 3.
Carrie, Grant, and Tori are getting positively penitentiary.
All right, weapons check. Against the wall. Go on, come on. Okay, you're all right. What's this? Is this a file? Off to solitary confinement. You to the yard.
Our fun-loving criminals are testing to see if they can free themselves with floss.
I don't think this is gonna work.
I think Grant's gone through like maybe 300 incarnations of his dental floss tape recorder robot. They don't seem to be working. At least that's what I'm getting from the throwing and the swearing.
But despite frustration levels peaking at tantrum, Grant is not giving up.
All right, so the tape recorder sucked, but it's gone. It's history. Now I'm gonna ramp it up and use whatever materials I want to make the ultimate automatic dental flossing machine. And then we'll see if it's possible to floss through bars.
This time, Grant is unleashing all his robot resources, creating a tension system that will simulate the grip and sawing action of a human being.
Okay, so the ultimate dental flossing robot is finished. Now it's time to give it a shot. And if this works, it should go bzzz one way and then bzzz the other way.
So, cue take 2 for Grant and Carrie's escape attempt.
Yeah, you hear that high-pitched sound?
Uh-huh.
That's the sound of freedom.
And once the ultimate dental flossing robot is up and running, there's nothing to do but sit back and wait.
Do you have any 8s?
Go fish.
Except for some scheduled maintenance.
Damn it! Son of a hang on. Why are you going that way? Okay, 1 second. Oh, hang on.
My prediction is that we'll get out on good behavior before we actually get out of prison. Maybe Grant and I will get out on good behavior. Tori's probably a lifer.
He's a bad boy.
Spirits are down in cell block A. Looks like we need a good cavity search.
But in spite of the oppressive regime, there is hope.
So after 3.5 hours, the ultimate flossing machine has given us a glimmer of hope. There's a shiny spot worn into the bar. Now it's not very deep, so it's a very tiny glimmer of hope. But that's only 3.5 hours. We're gonna let it go for more and see how far we get.
So our merry metal workers leave the robot flossing for a full week before they check the results. And while it may not be as fast as a hardcore hacksaw blade, amazingly, Grant's gadget is doing its job.
So it looks like we got a little progress. How'd we do?
Well, over our week, we did a total of 2,111.5 minutes of flossing, which corresponds to 35.2 hours.
Wow.
We got 15 thousandths of an inch.
So it's actually cutting through the bars. I mean, it's gonna take you forever, but I mean, you can actually do it.
At that rate, it'll take us 140,767 minutes.
What's that break down to?
Well, assuming you could do 8 hours of flossing a night, that would be 293 days. But remember, that's only one cut in one bar.
Well, theoretically, if you can cut into one bar, you can cut into 2.
So I guess we're calling this one plausible.
Yeah, plausible.
Plausible it is.
In the movies, people hang on to all sorts of things. But can you really cling onto a car? That's what the MythBusters are about to find out. Despite Buster's back-breaking behavior,
I'm gonna hold on real nice.
Jamie figures that his grip will brace him against the movement of the car. And he won't become a missile like a dummy.
Well, so far I'm convinced that our rig is safe for us to use. As for the myth, honestly, it's not looking that good as far as the dummy's behavior. That doesn't necessarily have any bearing on what happens when Jamie gets on the roof. I mean, this is a guy who scaled a building on a knotted rope. This is a guy who water skied behind a rowboat. He broke down a door with nothing but his shoulder.
So while superhuman Jamie psychs up and clips on, here's the plan.
I'm toast.
Yeah.
The boys are going to break the car cling myth into 3 classic testable elements: the zigzag shake, the long curve, and the emergency stop. At speeds up to 45 miles an hour, will Jamie cling or fling?
So we were thinking, if you're driving down the road and someone's on the roof of your car, the first thing that's going to occur to you is to do a kind of swervy maneuver to shake them off. That's what we're going to start with. Well, the insurance company won't let us go above 45 miles per hour, so I say let's go to 45 and give it all we got.
I'm ready for you, buddy.
Let's go. I think I had a nightmare just like this one.
To make things a little bit easier for Jamie, for this initial test, although the speed is up, the windows have been rolled down. Will Jamie get a grip?
Here we go. Multiple swerves. In 3, 2, 1, go. I'm gonna get into character. Who's that on my car? Yeah, me. Come on, give it to me. Here we go. Swerve 1, swerve 2, swerve 3. Come on.
Amazingly, despite the considerable G-forces, Jamie hangs in there with ease.
How was that, dude?
It wasn't a problem holding on, but it's a little thrilling.
Really?
Yeah, let's go for 100.
So far, it's a walk in the park for the hunter. But let's face it, when did the movie villain roll down the windows? It's time to get serious.
With the windows down, I've got a pretty nice strong hold, and I almost figure I could hold on through about anything short of a crash. With the windows up, not so much. It's not a whole lot. There's nothing to grab onto.
Clearly, this test is going to be a nail-biter.
Go!
Adam takes her up to 45. Jamie grips on to not very much. He holds the first swerve, but then he's off.
Dude, tell me you're okay.
I'm fine.
Really?
Yeah, I lost it on the second turn. The first one I was okay, but that little, two-step got me, and I went over the side. I was holding on as hard as I could, but I just slid.
So with our Klingon cowboy slung off at 45 miles an hour, part one of the Car Kling trio is busted. So it's onward and upward.
This next one, I'm calling this test the long turn. Effectively, I'm going to be driving in circles, applying centrifugal force on Jamie. Starting off slowly, but eventually ramping it up to see if I can, find its limit. All right, Jamie, just 360s as fast as you can manage them.
And from here on in, the boys are only going to test with the windows up.
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Centrifugal turn with a single complication.
Uh-oh.
Even as Adam reaches 15, it's clear that Jamie's struggling. Then, at only 20 miles an hour, he's down.
That's it. I'm okay.
How you doing there, brother?
That's kind of hard. I mean, I was doing all right, but all my weight is just like right on that little tip of the finger, and sooner or later they give.
In fact, it's virtually impossible, meaning that part two is also busted. So it's time for the finale. Windows up.
As we usually do, we have saved the worst for last. We are now going to subject Jamie to the sudden stop, which hopefully will send him virtually tumbling forward on the car. I won't be adding the second part that you always see in the movies in which I drive over him. That's what our rig's supposed to prevent. But I tell you, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on during this test. Jamie?
Yeah.
I think you're going down in this one.
You do, huh?
Uh-huh.
We'll see about that.
All right. Sudden stop. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
For safety's sake, Adam takes the car up to just 25 miles an hour. Jamie desperately braces himself with all the strength he can muster.
I'm okay.
But the Heinemann heave ain't enough.
I'm all right. Well, I think that test is done.
I think so.
I'm actually seeing some stars from that.
Really?
Yeah.
As Jamie flew off the roof like a giant piñata, the G-force was so great that he nearly blacked out. It's a seriously close call, but after a medical checkup, he's given the green light.
Good job. That one was a little too close for comfort. I really dug my fingers into the windshield. I knew exactly when Adam was going to hit the brake, and I was braced for it, but it still just wasn't quite enough. But in a real-life situation, you're not going to know when something's going to happen. You're not going to be able to brace for it. So that's a huge difference. And like as not, you're going to be flying off the car in a heartbeat.
In other words, it's part 3 busted. And after drama like that last test, you'd think the MythBusters would pack up and head home. But no. Next up, another fan-fueled jailbreak myth.
Okay, so our last prison escape myth is a bit bizarre. It comes from a fan posting under the username PizzazIP, and it's a story of an 18th century prison escape.
And according to our message board friend, in this prison, all the prisoners had ball and chain, but instead of being a hindrance to his escape like you might think, it was actually his method.
How? Well, in this particular prison, there was a cannon on the roof, and every hour on the hour, the cannon would fire. So one day, while no one's looking, he sneaks up to the roof, drops his ball in the cannon, and you see where I'm going here, right?
Yeah, he fires the cannon sends him over the wall, he survives, and returns to a life of crime.
Exactly.
Sounds like it's boom time.
It's a preposterous prison parable. Can a felon armed with a cannon, black powder, and a ball and chain really fire himself to freedom.
This sounds like a crazy myth. Sounds like a perfect job for Buster.
Yeah, but no one is gonna let us use their cannon to fire ball and chains out of them. I mean, we're probably gonna destroy it, so we're gonna have to build our own, so that way we can fire it up at the sky and see if we can get Buster to escape.
I don't even know if we're gonna be able to blast Buster over a wall.
Absolutely. But what I think is even more important than that is whether the human body can withstand the sorts of forces involved in firing a cannonball.
Cool, but if we're gonna start building cannons, balls, chains, I think we need to do a bit of research first.
Sounds good.
So our budding Jailbusters are going to blast off with some homemade cannon 101.
Whoa, there it is.
How you doing?
How are you?
And
Pretty good.
MythBusters pal Frank Tabor is the guy with all the gum fun guns. Big ones.
We're trying to build a cannon, and we heard that you had a mortar, so we thought we'd come down and take a look at it and maybe get some ideas.
Yeah, it's going to be the same principle. You're just going to have a longer barrel on yours. Mortars are shorter.
And of course, the stuff that sets these babies off is black powder.
How much powder do you use?
For us to send a 16-pound bowling ball, we use 3 12-gauge shotgun shells full of black powder, and that'll push it out about 700-800 yards.
Sounds perfect. So our fantastic fabricators measure up.
I think we got some good stuff.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Where's Frank?
What are you doing?
How fast can you run?
Very.
With the smoking cannon design sussed, Tori and Carrie next walk the line with some ball and chain chatter.
To investigate what a real ball and chain would look like, we've come to Folsom State Prison. Because not only is this a famous prison, but it has a long history, and we think this will be a great place to start.
So cue Prison Museum manager Jim Brown.
Whoa! These are crazy. Now, are these actual cannonballs?
These are all cannonballs, and then they were fashioned into ball and chains in the blacksmith shop here at the prison.
So say a prisoner's about 170 pounds, which is the size of our crash test dummy. What size ball would he have? Would it be like this?
Probably be more like this one. This one with shackle and chain is 37 pounds.
Oh, that looks about 5 inches in diameter.
It's 5 5/8 diameter.
All right, cool. Now we know what size ball to get. I am so glad that we came here. It turns out ball and chains were commonly used. And not only that, they were made from old cannonballs. But the best part is, we found out that cannons, working cannons, were actually at these prisons. This just adds so much more credibility to our myth.
So with the research all sorted,
Take it away!
it's time to get down to work.
One cannon coming up.
But will it work? To avoid a bad case of cannon malfunction, Tori's using 2-inch thick steel for the barrel and solid 10.5-inch thick steel for the combustion chamber.
So this big chunk of steel right here is our combustion chamber for our cannon. We've bored it out to hold the black powder and a barrel. Now I'd pick it up and show you, but it weighs 225 pounds, but it has to be strong, because the last thing we want is for this cannon to explode.
So while Tori welds his ancient artillery together, Grant bashes out some period-perfect ball and chains.
It's a prisoner's best friend.
And they're good to go. Well, nearly.
I'm not just spray painting the ball and chains because I think they look prettier yellow. 2 reasons. 1, it'll be a lot easier to see on our high-speed camera. And 2, we've learned from past experiments when we've shot cannonballs, these things are really hard to find when you embed them in a hillside.
That's assuming, of course, that Tori's piece stays in one piece.
It's a thing of beauty.
This is my first cannon. Let's hope it works.
Over the years, we have done some pretty outrageous things with automobiles. We've built custom ejection seats into them and activated them on Buster. We have jumped them 175 feet and remote controlled them, and we've put rockets in the back. This mod right here is up there with one of the coolest things we've ever done.
And they've been using it to find out if you can really cling onto the roof of a moving car. And the results are not good. With windows up, Jamie was forever flung off. But the roof was just one half of the myth. The other movie staple is the hood hang. First, the zigzag.
All right, dude.
Give me all you got.
And rather than give it all he's got, Jamie's going to take it slow. 3 zigzags at 20 miles an hour.
How you like that? How about that?
But that's all it needs for Adam to get airborne. And it's all down to a tenacious grip.
The problem with the swerve is what you're holding onto here on the hood. It's not uniform like the car doors. There's a whole bunch of vents and windshield wiper parts in there. My hands were very close to going into places where they'd start to incur some serious damage. I have to say, swerve, boop, it's out.
So after a quick reset, it's on to the long curve test.
All right, Adam on the hood, long centrifugal turn. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
About 15 miles an hour.
Jamie pulls away, and Adam starts off confident.
Oh, I can still hold that. Go faster.
But soon gets his comeuppance at just 20 miles an hour.
Oh, whoa! Yeah, that was about my limit right there. The problem with a long centrifugal turn isn't a problem with my grip, it's with my attitude. And I don't mean my mental attitude either, I mean my orientation to the car. My grip on the hood is linear to the car, but the force on me from the turn is perpendicular to the car. So it doesn't matter how hard I'm grabbing, eventually I'm being pulled so hard this way, I just can't hold on any longer.
So the roof hag is none from 2, and that just leaves the emergency brake, where anything could happen.
I have to say, I don't have high hopes for my ability to hold on to the hood of this car under the stress of a sudden stop. I think this is where the buck will end.
Adam on the hood with a sudden stop. I think he's going to be able to hold on because he's in line with the direction of force. He's got a good handhold on the inside edge of the hood. I don't see him coming off at all.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I'll be careful.
25.
At 25 miles an hour, Adam pulls it off with room to spare.
25 miles per hour, no problem. Let's go to the maximum, 45.
Throwing caution and insurance to the wind, Jamie floors it for the finale.
35, 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, I held on.
Again, Adam gets no airtime, and that's because Jamie was right. The huge force Adam's under is parallel with his body. That means it's much easier for him to get a grip.
Well, I think we're done here. You want to go back to the city?
I do.
You want to stay up there?
Absolutely, give me a second. Okay, go.
I think you'll be all right up there. I mean, you've got your seatbelt on.
What are you doing?
Nothing. How fast can you run?
Very.
Carrie, Tori, and Grant are testing a bizarre jailbreak myth. Can a man blow himself and his ball and chain to freedom out of a cannon?
So we're here at the Alameda County Bomb Range, which is where MythBusters come when they want to blow something up. We're gonna get our cannon out, set it up, get Buster in place, put a cannonball on his leg, and see if we can launch him to freedom.
But if our eager escapologists are going to blast Buster over a prison wall,
Right here?
Looks good to me.
they'll need a wall.
So this will be the prison wall.
This is it. This is the goal.
So according to the myth, the cannon was on the roof of the building, and then the cannonball with prisoner was shot over a fence. That's why we're doing sort of an imaginary low-set fence to shoot our cannonball over.
But before Buster gets involved, the team need to test Tori's artillery.
All right, so for this first test, we're just seeing if the cannon even works. So there's no Buster, it's just the ball and chain.
Yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen when we launch this. I mean, it could explode.
Yeah, and that way we can see where it's going, too, because we have no idea where it's aimed.
All right, I say we start off small, and we'll ramp our way up.
Is that you, Tori? Are you Mr. Safety now? That's good. I like it. I like new Tori.
But Safety Officer Tori still doesn't quite convince Carrie, so she takes charge of the charge.
So we have everything set except for our charge. So we're going to start out with 1 shotgun shell of black powder.
So it's boom or bust for Tori and his cannon.
This is my favorite part. I'm not gonna lie.
As you see the fuse getting shorter, the tension mounts.
Yes! Touchdown!
Nice.
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 All right. Good pop.
Cannon works.
Traveling at more than 130 miles an hour, the ball and chain shot 80 yards. That's way over the wall and just perfect for our myth.
All right, buddy. It's time for the old ball and chain.
So now the team is ready to load the cannon and let rip once again, this time with Buster in tow.
It's nothing personal, you know. You know that, right?
And with a bit more grunt to get him on his way.
Okay, 2 shotgun shells of black powder.
If one shot blew the ball and chain 80 feet, will 2 shots fly Buster 50 feet and over the fence?
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Well, no time like the present to find out.
Okay, so our cannon is in place. It's aimed at the wall's all set up. We've got our cannonball attached to Buster's leg, and our prisoner Buster is ready to fly. All we need to do is light the fuse.
Yeah! Something good is bound to happen.
Something's gonna happen.
Let's hope it just knocks him over the fence and the myth's confirmed.
All right.
The ball and chain shot out of the cannon okay, but it failed to lift Buster over the fence. So what does that mean for our myth?
Buster moved.
He moved.
Oh, 6 feet.
But hey, maybe we just add a little more black powder. Maybe if 2 shotgun shells get him 6 feet, maybe 3 shotgun shells get him 18 feet.
Why 3? Let's go to 5. 6 even. I say ramp it up.
Carrie, Tori, and Grant are having a blast with this bizarre jailbreak myth. Is it possible to fly a jailbird to freedom by firing his ball and chain clean out of a cannon? So far, it looks like this myth just might fly. All that's needed is more oomph. Or is it really that simple?
Well, you know what? Buster is made of metal, so he's totally missing the human element.
Well, we do have some rope. To the best of our research, is the closest that we could find to the breaking strength of human tissue.
So for the sake of authenticity and science, for test 2, the team are going to find out if rope, simulating a human hip joint, can outlast the blast and fly Buster to freedom.
What we're doing right now is we're replacing the steel connection between the leg and the hip with rope. Now that rope is our best guesstimation of what the tear strength would be of a human limb.
This half-inch synthetic rope has a breaking strain of nearly half a ton.
Okay.
About the same as the muscle and ligament in a real human hip joint.
All right, everybody clear? Here we go.
Come on! Here we go!
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a leg. Traveling at over 200 miles an hour. But it's still not enough to lift Buster's body into the wild blue yonder.
Lit the fuse, ran for cover, the cannon went off, but Buster was left behind. But his leg went free. It actually made it over the wall. The thing is, though, a real person would not survive this.
Ah, yes!
Dang!
That's what I'm talking about!
The only thing that's free is his leg from his body.
So did he escape from prison? Afraid not.
But you know what? No matter how you look at this one, it's still busted.
Yeah, from the human analog perspective, not only did it separate the leg from the body, but it ripped off all the flesh. There's no way you're surviving that.
Even with an entirely metal skeleton, he's not making it over the wall in one piece.
Yeah, this would never happen. Busted.
Totally busted.
Adam and Jamie have been flung left, right, center. Testing the myth of the car cling. And the results are in.
I'm all right. How are we gonna call it?
Dude, I'm calling this one Fun with a capital F. I swear this is a whole new amusement park. Oh, you mean Busted Plausible Confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay. Holding on to the hood of the car, I was knocked off for 2 out of the 3 tests we did.
And as far as the roof goes, I was pretty much able to hold on through anything.
Yeah, but that was with the windows down. In an action movie, man, those windows are up.
In which case, I'd be toast. I guess that means we have to call it busted, huh?
I agree, but I don't want to finish up just yet. There is one more shake-off technique that I've been dying to try. Are you game?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
And the final flinging fable is not a swerve or a stop or even a crash. It's something way more bizarre, straight from the fan side. It is, of course, the car wash knockoff.
As long as we're testing methods for removing unwanted pests from the outside of your car, we couldn't finish this without going through the car wash.
And first up, it's soap dodger Jamie Heineman.
While the appearance of the Heineman may be peculiar to you, his bathing rituals are even stranger. He travels the urban landscape looking for a host, and when he finds one, he guides it into a washing facility where, like a symbiotic parasite, he rides through the cleaning facility until he is completely cleansed.
And his host is ready and waiting.
Come on!
Once again, Jamie assumes his position on the roof.
Oh, you're ready? Here we go. Oh, God.
This is awesome!
Now, how often do you get to wash yourself, your clothes, and your car at the same time?
Oh, that's cool. I feel like I'm going through a noodle machine.
After a quick blow dry, this noodle is done.
How was that?
That was definitely one of those what the heck am I doing moments.
What was the worst part?
The cold.
With a water temperature of 55, it sure was chilly, but Jamie stayed on. Now, can our boy from the hood equal this effort?
I'm ready.
You're gonna go through that butt first, huh?
Absolutely.
All right then. Well, have fun.
I will.
Adam, have fun? Surely not.
Oh, no. Oh, that's cool.
Adam clings on through the rinse and through the spin. The drying gives him a shock, but not a knock.
It's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm glad I did that, and I'm glad I don't ever have to do it again.
Okay, so the story is this is supposed to knock you off the car. Not even close. I didn't even have to hold on. It's not very pleasant, but it's not going to knock you off the car.
This falls into the category of the kind of thing that 10 years from now, someone's going to say to me, wonder what it's like to ride a car on the outside through a car wash. And I'll get to say, not only have I done that, I did it in the name of science, because this myth is busted.
On this episode of MythBusters, Doctors Heineman and Savage raid the archives for a movie myth about a bike flip. If you poke a pole in the front spokes, will it really flip out?
Timing was perfect.
If you say so, Junior.
And Cary Grant and Tori are Breaking Bad
Busting out of here, see?
to test tall tales of prison breaks. They want to know if you can rappel to freedom using bed sheets, toilet paper, and hair?
Ow!
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
That's 100% wacky right there.
and Jamie Heineman.
Pain is your friend.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Joining them, Carrie Byron,
Do it.
Grant Imahara,
Danger! Warning! Warning!
and Tori Belleci.
Okay, you want to play a rough little golfer?
They don't just tell the myths, They put them to the test.
Let me guess. Indiana Jones?
Yes, cast your mind back to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Indy and his father are racing away from the Nazis on a motorcycle. Nazis come up alongside them and are about to get them, but Indy doesn't have a weapon. Quickly thinking, he grabs a flagpole, jams it in the front spokes of the Nazi motorcycle, and...
The motorcycle flips up in the air, end over end. Bad time for the Nazi.
Exactly. That is our movie myth.
It's a classic scene from the silver screen. The doctors Jones, Jr. and Sr., are being chased by the Third Reich on bikes. But a flagpole in the front wheel of the nearest Nazi and a motorcycle flip-out sees our hero escape with a trademark cheesy grin.
This one's really interesting from a physics sense because when I look at that scene, it doesn't seem awkward or out of place, but it does beg the question, is it really that easy to redirect all the energy that's going this way to going that way?
I'm thinking that we break it down to its constituent components, test each one, and then put them all back together for a full-sized finale.
This will be fun. It's been years since I've been on a motorcycle.
Ever since that gang, right?
So first things first, it's a motorcycle myth, and we'll be needing a...
That's a bike.
Exactly.
Oh, it's lovely.
I actually rode across the country in one of these things.
No way. I'm just reeling from learning something about you I didn't know. It seems that there's a never-ending supply of those.
It's a single-cylinder four-cycle. We call them a thumper. It's not like it's like an old-fashioned bike.
Okay, it may be old-fashioned, but the movie bikes are vintage World War II.
I know what you're saying. You're saying this really doesn't look like a vintage World War II era motorcycle, and it is. In fact, it's from 1981, but it is the exact model of bike used by the stuntmen to perform their stunts for Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which means that it, and not some vintage bike, is the perfect test platform for us for this myth.
Now that that's sorted, let's kick things off as Adam and Jamie focus on the first aspect of the myth.
Since this myth is all about the poking of a flagpole into the spokes of a motorcycle, one of the things we want to know is how fast can we poke a flagpole?
Because once they know the speed of a human flagpole poke...
Nice, Tiger.
They can calibrate their remaining tests to just that.
Just plain funny to let you exert yourself like that. I don't know why exactly. It just is. High comedy.
Whatever floats your goat.
And the high comedy on the high speed reveals the magic number to be 30 miles per hour. Cue part 2 of the experiment, a remote control flagpole thruster.
You might remember this puppy right here from Birds on a Truck because this was our pigeon catcher.
Yep, it's not a prop from Mad Max. It really is a pigeon catcher. Not that it caught any pigeons.
It has an air reservoir, it has a valve, it has everything we need to shoot the stick into the wheels of the motorcycle. I just need to change the barrel a bit and we'll be good to go. In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, that looked a tad faster than 30 miles an hour to me. But let's see what Adam thinks.
1.
That might be a little too fast.
That's what I said.
Is everybody okay?
That's dangerous.
Yeah, we might have to tune that one back. The only problem that we're finding with this rig is that it seems to be giving us too much bang for our buck right now.
1.
That's 143 miles per hour. Almost no pressure in this tank. This valve is so big that the stick is still going at like 50 miles an hour, which is way faster than either of us could throw the flagpole. I'm not gonna get tired of that.
And so to get the speed they need, around 30 miles per hour,
this is an exceedingly weird operation.
They add some hose to decrease the pressure.
Firing in 3, 2, 1. That might be it.
That's it. That's the butter zone. 12 PSI, we get 28.5 miles per hour. That's perfect.
As odd as this sounds, after destroying their wooden backstop, they finally got the ex-pigeon catcher throwing a flagpole at a realistic speed.
This might sound crazy, but a lot of the fans are saying that you can actually make rope out of toilet paper, and it'll be strong enough that you could scale down a jail wall and escape.
Toilet paper? Are you serious?
All right, well, if we're gonna do that, I think we should do the all-time classic, making a rope out of bed sheets.
I know it's kind of out there, but let's also do the Rapunzel version of this, where you make a rope out of hair.
Ew.
Any prison break worth its place in urban folklore involves a death-defying descent from a great height, including these fan-site fables. Desperate convicts, eager to be ex-convicts, have escaped jail with the apparent aid of cell-made ropes of toilet paper and bed sheets. And if you include Rapunzel's luscious locks, that's 3 harebrained escape plans to test.
So how are we gonna test this?
Well, why don't we each take one of the materials, make our ropes, and see which one of us makes it down the side of the building.
And may the best rope win.
Wait, I want bed sheets then.
Too late!
Yes, in a vertigo-inducing finale,
Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up.
our fun-loving criminals will find out for real if the ropes made from their mythical materials will aid and abet their jailbreak.
Stupidest idea ever.
Or send them plummeting to their doom.
Ow!
But before all that, let's take you back to the beginning, where Carrie's plan for a braided escape is giving her a bad hair day.
Is this not the most disgusting thing you've ever seen? An entire box of just hair?
Yes, coming in at #1 on the weirdest raw material chart are 50 human hair ponytails.
We have to break out of a building that's 14 stories high. So I have to make a rope that is 140 feet long. I think the difficulty here is not gonna necessarily be the strength of the hair, because this feels really strong. I think it's gonna be where the hair splices together. I have to come up with some sort of knotting or braiding system that it won't slide apart and, 100 feet down, I'm not just gonna plummet to the earth. And it's gross.
Meanwhile, Grant's mythical method is a little more conventional and a film fugitive favorite.
So in order to make sure we have maximum authenticity here, we've gotten these bed sheets from our friends in Alameda County, and they're actual county jail linens.
But he's not only keeping it real, he's keeping it simple.
My plan is to extend them lengthwise so that they're the full 7 feet long, and then fold it into a rope-type shape and knot them together.
And finally, Tori, who has some serious tensile strength issues with his authentic one-ply prison-issue tissue.
There you have it. It's not strong enough.
But he's a man with a plan.
If you look at the toilet paper, it's perforated for your convenience of pulling off one sheet at a time. Already, it's got this built-in weak leak. So I think twisting it, rolling it, will give me the extra strength that I need. Look at that. The same amount of toilet paper, just wrapped up, is strong enough to now hold the 3 kilos. So this is the way I'm gonna make my toilet paper rope.
Adam and Jamie's past crusade to hold Hollywood to scientific account has given the team some memorable moments of movie mayhem. But on this last crusade, the team are tackling the tall tale that a stick between the spokes can cause a head-over handlebars flip. So far, they've got their bike and rigged a remote control flagpole thruster. So, what's next?
When this bike is moving at highway speeds, the spokes are going so fast you can hardly see them. So what we need to find out is whether it's possible for a human to thrust a stick into those spokes fast enough to get them cleanly through there. And then once that occurs, what happens to the wheel?
And to get the wheel spinning at chase scene speeds, 50 miles per hour, Adam whips up a dynamometer.
So the dynamometer is fully built and constructed. It's ready to spin this wheel up, and I'm going to explain. I don't really need to explain how it works, do I? The motor drives the chain, drives the wheel, spins it up to speed, we poke it with the stick. It's pretty straightforward. And now it's time for the old spoke and poke test.
So with the bike secured, this test is all about the space between the spokes and not the full flip.
This is gonna be cool.
Will a flagpole thrust at realistic speed actually penetrate the wheel?
3, 2, 1.
Apparently not.
Well, that was a bit of a letdown.
Yes, the stick just bounced right back out. And after a second test under the same conditions, produces a similar result, the guys decide they're missing the point on the stick and on the wheel.
Maybe we want to aim the stick back towards here.
Like the movie, the guys were aiming at 3 o'clock. But as that last test showed, in the time it takes to hit the spokes at 10 o'clock, the flagpole can wobble free. So, take 3. Only this time, they're targeting 9 o'clock.
Firing. 3, 2, 1.
Perfect. Penetration, wheel stoppage, and as a bonus, some controlled mayhem.
We broke some stuff.
We successfully stopped the wheel with the stick, and that's great. That's 15 pounds coming to a dead stop from 50 miles an hour. But this was a stationary test. When we go out on the road with this, there are hundreds of pounds in this bike, plus the rider that want to keep on going. And that's where the real fun's going to start. So, it turns out it actually is possible to get a flagpole in between the spokes of a motorcycle wheel while it's going 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, you know, I don't see anything holding us up from putting this motorcycle on a trailer, dragging it behind a truck, and trying this test full size at speed.
And then if there's any truth at all to this myth, bikes getting airborne.
Exactly.
So it's full scale ahead, and the plan in the can looks a lot like this. At the push of a button, the bike and Buster will begin freewheeling. That in turn will trigger the flagpole flinger and jam the stick into the spokes. And to get things rolling in the right direction, Adam's reinventing the wheel.
Well, the first problem I think we gotta solve is exemplified by taking a look at this footage again. Yeah, see that? Okay. The hubbed spoked wheel, it's not really ideal for us to shove a stick into because those spokes are not gonna stay put. We need a wheel that can stay put under continued abuse for repeated tests, and we're gonna use steel plate to do it. We've had 2 of these, plasma cut out of 1/4-inch steel plate. We're gonna bolt them to one of the motorcycle rims, have a tire put back on it, and a couple of flange-mounted pillow blocks on the axle, and that ought to hold up to everything we can throw at it. The Road Warrior would be proud. This thing is absolutely as solid as a rock. It's perfect.
For the Prison Break parable,
This place can't hold me!
Grant Iron Man Imahara,
We're busting out of here, see?
Carrie Knuckles Byron,
Come on. I was framed!
and Don Salvatore Belleci
Framed, I tell you!
are pretending to be put away in order to break out.
Prisoners, step in, lock down.
They're going to find out if you can effect an escape with ropes made of bed sheets, toilet paper, and hair.
My collection of hair I've gathered from the shower and all the rat tails I've been stealing. I will have no problem making a rope and getting out of here.
But despite being forced to use authentic cell-made materials,
Warden, I got diarrhea. I need more toilet paper.
the guys won't really have to prepare their escape in their cells. They get to do that back at the shop, where Tori has worked out that if he twists one-ply prison-issue tissue, it becomes less fragile.
Look at that. That's pretty cool.
But can it really be made into rope?
As you can see, I'm twisting the toilet paper into little strings. Once I have enough strings, I'll weave it into a rope, and hopefully that will be strong enough to hold my weight, and that'll be my ticket out of this joint. And this process is taking a long time, but let's face it, I'm in jail. I got nothing but time. Someday I'll be free. Bling.
It may be time-consuming, but before modern manufacturing techniques, this is exactly how real rope was made. Fibers of material were twisted into yarns. A few of these yarns were twisted in the opposite direction to form threads. And again, several of these were counter-twisted to form rope. So it might sound crazy, but Tori could be onto something.
I'm gonna get out of jail in no time.
Meanwhile, Carrie's about to find out if her plan for a braided escape is even viable.
I'm a little nervous about the strength of the hair, so I've got a knotted piece here that I was actually just gonna try my weight on. I'm really kind of nervous about this because of that factor. Maybe I need to find some inmates with some less healthy, slippery hair, some good fried out bleach blonde inmates.
Yeah. Or maybe, just like a conventional rope, you could braid a number of those single strands together.
I'm going to take 3 braids and tie them all into one braid so that it's sort of how rope works, where if one fails, it has 2 more to kind of depend on, and hopefully that can give it more strength. Unfortunately, I'm getting claw hand from like all the braiding.
And that just leaves Grant, who got lucky with the least labor-intensive material.
The bed sheet is beautiful because you can go to the prison laundry, steal as many as you need. You don't need 100 years to make your bed sheet rope. You need about, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. And you're climbing your way to freedom.
However, the toilet paper plan is taking a lot longer.
I need to spread my wings and fly.
So to speed things up, our crafty criminal uses his mastermind to good effect by twisting multiple strands at once and cheating.
So I've taken 5 sheets of toilet paper, twisted them together to create this. Now I'm gonna take 3 of these, wrap them together, and then take that and wrap that together and hopefully create a rope that's gonna be strong enough to hold up my weight. But before I do that, I gotta do a little magic. The amazing Balici.
Meanwhile, over in Grant's cell, he's testing to see if the sheets can take the strain.
So what we have here is a single standard Alameda County bed sheet, the knot tied at the top, threaded through 150 pounds of weight, which is equivalent to my body weight, and as you can see, it's actually doing quite well so far.
Outside in the exercise yard, Tori is also ready for a strength test.
This might work.
Carrie, however, is still desperately braiding and plaiting. She's more concerned about the hair's joints and splices than its tensile strength. After all, keratin, the major protein component of hair, is as hard as nails, literally. It's also the stuff that forms horns, claws, and hoofs. The question is, will it also make rope? Jamie and Adam are flipping out.
That might be a little too fast.
All right.
Testing the movie myth that jamming a stick between the spokes will cause a motorcycle flip out. But they've got a tough build ahead.
In order to go full scale with this, we need to both be able to hold this bike and let go of it at very precise timing. So we're gonna start by building a trailer that holds it upright, that on the push of a button releases it, and then once it's released, we'll fire a stick right through those front spokes.
In engineering terms, there's a mountain to climb. And what better way to show the passage of time than a montage? And a cross-dissolve later, the rig is ready to roll. But before the cameras do,
I wouldn't have married you if I'd known you were so heavy.
the team needs a change of scenery.
Ready?
Yep, let's go.
And the location they've chosen is, surprise, the disused runway at Alameda.
It's a good day for a motorcycle accident.
I think so.
Let's make a few.
Unlikely to have a motorcycle accident is Jamie, our very own cross-country motorbiking mythbuster. But Adam?
Let's trade.
Well, that's a different story.
How do you undo this?
I'm not so sure this is a good idea. Adam on a motorcycle. Even with seat belts, I worry about Adam.
Are you done yet? We got some work to do. Let's get busy.
All right, let's do it. Oh! Ah.
So while Jamie reassembles the trailer and release rig, Adam brightens up the bike for its big scene. And then gives Buster
Hey, little buddy.
our soon-to-be crash victim matching safety wear.
You're not going to prison, you're going on a ride.
And with Buster's ride secured to the trailer, he's ready for a test run.
This may look pretty straightforward, but actually it's a pretty complicated rig, and there's a lot of little things which we're not sure exactly how they might react to getting up to speed. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. Get the whole rig up to speed and just see how it runs.
But before they even get up to speed, Buster looks like he's DUI.
Well, now that's a problem.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to see.
For those of you playing along at home, here's what we were trying to do, and here's where it went wrong. We were attempting to pull the motorcycle by the handlebars. When you're riding a motorcycle, that's an excellent way to steer it. But when you're pulling on it, you're effectively pulling it from behind its axle, and that makes it very difficult because any slop in that system means the bike wants to do everything but travel in a straight line.
It's slowly creeping over.
Yep. So we are going to modify our rig to pull the bike from exactly on its axle. We're going to put in a 3/4 inch rod that is about 2 feet long. We're going to put it up on a little shelf.
That's too far. Now it's got to come back.
We're still going to use the same release system we have, but that should make the wheel travel straight and true and allow us to drag this thing all day long and do our testing.
So after several hours of hard work, it's crises averted.
Looking pretty good from my perspective.
And Happy is back.
So the new rig is set. We are bringing the truck in and we're ready for what is still to be our first test run. But honestly, actually, it's been great trying to solve this problem in the field with little scraps of metal. I feel very positive at this point.
That's if it works. And with the truck easing up to 25 miles per hour,
I don't see any problem with that.
Buster stays upright and has no problems keeping in line.
So we've had a few setbacks. We've tweaked and tuned the rig. Now it's time to start the mayhem. Start the mayhem!
Jailed for science. Carrie, Grant, and Tori are going a little stir-crazy.
Man, I gotta get out of here. If only we could figure out a way to escape.
If only we had a rope or something.
Yes, they're putting 3 mythical rope-making materials to the test. The hair's been braided, the toilet paper twisted, and the sheets rolled and knotted. Which means our ingenious inmates are ready to become outmates. And the coop they'll be flying from is the Alameda County Courthouse Jail. They have to rappel from the roof using only their cell-made ropes.
All right, you guys, it's a moment of truth for our prison escape ropes. We've got 100% human hair, toilet paper rope, and the old school classic bed sheet.
Well, since yours is probably the most likely to work, maybe you should go first. You show us how it's done, and then this way we can test out the SWAT team safety mechanism.
Fine, I will.
Good luck, man.
All right.
Freedom!
Good idea. Him going first. I like that.
So Grant, the nominated human guinea pig, is first up. But rest assured, he's in safe hands. Jack Tucker and Mike Norton are SWAT team rappel masters, and they've rigged a harness and rope system that will allow Grant to climb unassisted. Unless he falls.
I got full confidence in the SWAT guys. They specialize in 2 things, rappelling and kicking ass. So I feel completely safe.
Yeah, real safe.
Well, that certainly gets the juices flowing. Yeah, it's a little bit different perspective up here. Okay, I can do this.
With every inch of that terrifying drop playing on his mind, Grant forces himself to focus on prepping for the climb.
So this is the moment of truth for my bedsheet rope. Can you actually escape using a bedsheet and not have it break? Okay, it's long enough. Okay. So careful observers may note that I'm wearing, in addition to my standard prison garb, a safety harness. Now the important thing is that the safety harness is only in case the rope breaks or there's some other problem. Okay, you guys, I'm ready to go. The bed sheet will be holding my entire weight the whole time. Here I go.
Grant's first careful steps are onto a convenient ledge just over the edge.
Holy sheet, that's high!
But from here on in, it's down to Grant and those knotted bed sheets.
All right, you guys ready?
Ready?
Here we go with the old school bed sheet.
Be careful, little buddy.
Despite the concern below, the early signs are good.
He's doing the walk down the wall thing.
Oh, it looks like he's done this before. You broken out of jail before?
Wow, those are holding up.
The bed sheets are holding up.
He's getting tired.
Oh, man.
The question now is, can Grant hold himself up?
Oh, God. He's just hanging. He's just hanging.
Hang on, buddy. Don't let go. You're almost free. Atta boy.
This sucks.
You can do it.
I've got climbing experience, but there's nothing to hold on to up there except for the rope.
Pretend like your life depends on it, because it kind of does.
Says thank God that I got those big knots in there, because if I didn't have that, I'd be done.
Oh, Grant, you're doing so good.
You're almost there, dude. You're halfway there.
The sheets are totally holding you up.
There were a couple places where I couldn't quite get a foothold, and the rope just slipped through my hands, and that's where I got these hideous rope burns, which are really, really hurting.
Oh, look at the pain in his face. Freedom's like 20 feet away.
Yeah!
Ow! Ow!
Oh, yes! 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 Yeah!
Let go. You're there, dude.
Yeah!
I'm free. I'm free.
Confirmed!
Ow!
Freedom. But with a bad case of rope burns.
The good news is I can totally see why they put this in movies, because the entire time the bedsheet was solid. There was no ripping, no tearing, no giving way of the bedsheet. That was solid. And, you know, I had been in a little bit better physical condition, probably would have gotten down that no problem.
And what that means is that scaling the jailhouse wall with a bedsheet rope is confirmed.
I'm free.
For those playing along at home, here's where we stand so far on the myth that jamming a flagpole into the front spokes of a motorcycle will cause it to flip up in the air. We've gotten a motorcycle wheel up to 50 miles an hour and found out that, yes, a human is totally capable of jamming a flagpole into that front wheel and stopping it.
We broke some stuff.
The question now is, if you're doing that to a motorcycle that's moving, will it have the effect that the myth states?
The bike immediately stops and starts to cartwheel while going up in the air.
Now we're going to see what happens for real.
Okay, that's where we've been. But where are we going?
So this is how this works. We're sitting on the back of a flatbed truck moving down the runway, and when I press this switch, I set into action a whole series of events.
The first series of events he sets into action are electrons moving down this wire. Those electrons working so hard and beautifully, we get to this motor and start it to spin. This motor, mounted to this entire custom-built rig, meant to hold this motorcycle in an upright position, will start this all-thread spinning. This all-thread is mounted to a nut in the center of the handlebars, keeping it attached to the rig. The nut in reverse will release the bike from the rig. When the bike releases from the rig, it'll trip this little blast switch. The brass switch will then send a signal to this 2-inch pilot valve, holding back 25 pounds per square inch of pressure inside the Schedule 40 accumulation tank, which we've custom built. The air, once released, will travel down this flexible hose into this cannon behind the hickory stick, sending the hickory stick through the spokes of our custom built motorcycle wheel, stopping the motorcycle on a dime, sending it up into the air, and hopefully having everybody cheering for science.
And with the crowd expectant, the team set up and step up for the first test at 25 miles per hour.
You know what I hope?
What?
I hope it works.
Me too.
All right, let's start it.
Buster, looking every inch a crash test biker, tailgates the truck, ready for his moment of glory.
20 miles per hour.
And once the team are at test speed,
25.
Adam calls it.
Firing in 3, 2, 1.
That went through. It stopped the wheel. Okay, Will, stop.
Slow down and stop.
It all happened pretty fast, but a quick look at the high speed confirms the Rube Goldberg-esque rig worked like a dream. Jamie hit the switch, Buster was released.
Oh, I see it flicking the switch.
The cannon fired, and the flagpole was jammed into the spokes.
Dude, the timing is just dead on.
Giving Buster a taste of asphalt.
How you doing, buddy?
But there was no sign of the mythical flip.
It couldn't be better, but I didn't see no bicycle flippo.
Yep, no Bico Flippo, more of a Bico Topolo. So, What's next?
The next thing we're going to do is ramp the speed up a little bit so that the bike will tend to want to stay upright for longer. And we'll probably get a little more energy in the process, which means a bigger flip if we're going to get one at all.
So it's take two.
Holding up well.
And this time they take the truck to 40.
30 miles per hour.
Okay, firing in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, you can stop. Stop.
So the additional momentum didn't help the bike get airborne. Instead, that extra energy was used to snap the flagpole in half.
You know what? That right there is the test. You know, that's the test.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. It broke the stick.
I think that was the circumstances of the myth right there. We got the bike going at 40 miles per hour. We got the stick firing perfectly into the spokes. It didn't stop the bike, it didn't flip the bike, and it broke the stick.
So what's next?
Stronger stick. That was the circumstances. Let's try and get the results with a big fat steel stick.
Steel it is.
Yep, just like Buster, the myth is down, but not quite out. Carrie, Tori, and Grant have had success with the first of their Rappel to Freedom tests.
I'm free! I'm free!
This myth is absolutely confirmed, and I love it when myths are confirmed. The rope did not break. You can make a bedsheet rope and escape from jail. Let's not air this in the prisons.
That's one down, literally,
I'm free!
with 2 to go.
Now that the sheets are confirmed, it's time to see if all your hard work is gonna pay off.
You look kind of nervous. You okay?
I am kind of nervous.
All right, good luck. See you on the outside.
I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm really afraid of falling. And I'm not a mountain climber. This will be the first time I really will have done anything remotely like this. So, yeah, I'm nervous.
Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up.
And no wonder she's nervous. It's clear hair isn't exactly an ideal rope-making material.
I was watching her form the rope, and there were many times where she had to take it apart because she would test it and it would just go whoosh. She's got multiple strands, you know, forming a big, thick rope of hair, but I don't know, at this point, my confidence isn't especially high.
And neither is Carrie's.
Whose hairball idea is this?
Well, it's a harebrained plan for sure, but it's too late to turn back now. We're about to find out if that hairy lifeline will cut it.
Man, oh, it's looking pretty good so far, actually.
Well, the hair is
It's holding up. That's great.
It's incredible how strong it is.
Whoa!
It defies belief, but Carrie's descent is being supported by nothing more than a 140 feet long triple braided ponytail.
How's it going, Carrie?
I see split ends.
You should have used conditioner.
There's split ends.
Hair care issues aside, Carrie's descent is going spectacularly well.
You're almost free!
The redundancy of the 3 separate braids seems to have solved the splice slipping problem.
Oh, yeah!
And her technique of sliding instead of climbing is just perfect.
Yeah!
You did it! The hair didn't break!
I've got to say, I'm totally amazed.
My hands, a little jacked.
This rope is composed of hair that's braided. And if you look at it, it's actually kind of springy, which is just crazy. It's effective. Disgusting, but effective.
Yeah!
Oh my God, that was so scary.
Yeah?
And the hair didn't break!
I can't believe it didn't break.
It was like I'd slide, grab a knot, slide, grab a knot. But the whole time I was just like, it's coming undone, it's coming undone, it's coming undone, it's coming undone. The only part it got really hairy, I would say it was actually, there's a portion in the middle where the hair's really thin, and I actually watched a little piece of hair go like this in slow motion, and I was just like, going faster, going faster. Then, when I was right close to the ground, I had about a foot, then I kind of dropped a little bit. That's the only time I actually felt the rope kind of, the belay, was the last foot. The whole time, that was sheer human hair strength.
Incredible, but true. But unlike the bed sheets, the guys are reluctant to call this one confirmed.
The hair worked, and it didn't break. I mean, it's not the most practical technique, but I mean, if you can get that amount of hair and braid it together, you can make rope. and escape.
Yeah, unless your name's Rapunzel, getting that amount of hair could be an issue. But as a mythical rope-making material, it does actually work. On the motorcycle movie myth, Adam and Jamie are having a flipping good time.
I didn't see no bike flippo.
But so far, there's been no sign of the mythical head-over handlebars flip.
Okay, you can stop.
So they decided to beef things up a bit.
So at 40 miles an hour, hickory didn't really cut it. So this time, we're gonna use a steel pipe. This is about 8 times as heavy, and it's gonna do something pretty violent.
But that extra weight necessitates a couple of tweaks to the rig.
I'm gonna up the pressure quite a bit to about 80 PSI, where we were doing about 20 or 25, and I'm gonna lubricate it a little bit. And since we forgot to bring the lard, the lunch table had a little leftover mayo, so I'm gonna try that. Sometimes you just need a little extra lubrication. Too bad we forgot the lard.
I feel funny.
With Jamie's steel pole nicely lubricated, the team is ready for what it hopes will be the final spoke poke.
Well, hopefully this is the it shot. This is either going to flip this motorcycle or prove once and for all that it's totally not possible. I hope this works.
What's not to work?
Oh, so many things.
But if it goes according to plan, Buster will soon be taking a short, dizzying flight with a mandatory crash landing.
Okay, pulling 3, 2, 1, go! Give me 5 there.
Another smooth execution by the rig, and you could say the guys are pleased.
Well, that seemed to work just beautifully. It doesn't get any prettier than
It was
that.
flawless.
And the bike did not flip.
No, the
No
tire skidded. You know, that's it. That's the perfect test.
It's forward momentum. It doesn't transfer immediately to vertical momentum. It makes all the sense in the world now that I've seen it happen.
You know, you could stop the bad guy that way if you happen to have a steel pipe, but it's not getting airborne. It won't happen. It's gonna do exactly that.
Dude, that totally worked. Quick grenade.
The most important thing to keep in mind about this test is the traction between this wheel and the road surface.
Nice work, Buster!
If you bring the wheel to a dead stop, like you will if you put a stick between the spokes, it's gonna skid. You're gonna lose control. It'll slip out from under the bike and it's all over. It will not get it airborne like it did in the movie.
Oh, so satisfying.
So, no Biko Flippo, even with the mayo.
You know what we have to do though now? We have to finish on a bike that's doing a flip. Hook or by crook, we have to finish with that. Physics 1, movies 0.
And so it's back to the shop to square the account and find out the physics of film effects.
Dude, check this out. It looks like this whole scene is just a trick of editing. You can see that when the bike takes off, it's totally stationary. And if I frame forward a couple frames, you can see a small explosion underneath.
That's a classic Hollywood sleight of hand.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that if we're gonna do this Hollywood style, we're gonna need some explosives to get that bike in the air.
We need a boom.
Exactly.
Yep, so the key is TNT. And with that in mind, our special effects specialists get back to work.
This is what is known as a mortar. Now, this is what is going to make the bike do what we couldn't do with a stick through the spokes. We're gonna fill this with gunpowder. We're gonna put it underneath the bike, and it's gonna fire a bunch of black powder, shooting the bike way up in the air and spinning while it does it.
To survive that black powder-powered flight, the bike gets a once-over from Adam.
This may look like an ordinary bike, sure, but in fact, this bike has now realized the dream of all bikes, which is to be a stunt bike. I've reinforced its skeletal structure so that it can be punched from behind the engine and fly up in the air to glory.
Sounds great, unless your name happens to be Buster. To get to the bottom of the toilet paper jailbreak.
Oh, this prison food's killing me. You need to put more fiber in the damn food!
Tori has taken a swipe at making a rope from genuine one-ply perforated prison poop paper.
So my toilet paper rope is done. It's taken me a long time, and it looks like rope. However, it's still only toilet paper. So I'm hoping it's gonna be strong enough to hold up my weight.
His chances are made of paper.
His escape technique's paper thin.
We better get out of here. They're gonna put us in the loony bin.
Toilet paper rope, escape. Probably the stupidest idea ever.
It's not that stupid. You've had stupider ideas.
I'm gonna kick your butt if I survive, Grant.
Watch that first step. She's a doozy.
And that first step is also the crucial moment when nothing but toilet paper is taking Tori's weight.
Oh my God.
But incredibly, a few expletives aside, it's all going according to plan. Sort of.
Toilet paper is used to wipe your butt, not climb down a building.
It seems the real issue with the tissue is finding a firm grip.
I'm off.
You okay?
And that, right there, is why we hired the SWAT team. Tori slipped. And if it wasn't for the safety harness, he was a goner. But aside from that sudden and terrifying drop,
Yeah, dude, you're almost there.
Tori and the toilet paper hold firm and make it safely to terra firma.
You did it! How's those hands?
They're numb.
Who would have thought toilet paper works to escape prison?
I'm amazed. I'm amazed that the toilet paper did not break. At least while he was making his way down.
I'm free. I can't walk, but I'm free.
Yeah, it broke, but it didn't break during the test. And so Tori gives toilet paper his seal of approval.
I am totally convinced that toilet paper used as a rope is a plausible way to escape from prison. You saw it. It didn't break. It stretched a lot, but it didn't break. It was incredible. Toilet paper.
It worked! We're free! That was amazing! 2 plausibles and it confirmed!
Hair, toilet paper, and bed sheets.
All right, I'll see you guys in Mexico in a month.
Welcome back. Here's where we stand. We have already busted the myth that if you jam a flagpole into the spokes of a motorcycle at speed, that it will flip end over end. Totally not possible within the laws of physics. Now, Jamie and I are going to do it Hollywood style with our favorite tool, explosives. In Hollywood, also, geeky television show hosts get to dress up like their favorite movie heroes.
That's the only crack I know. I can't crack like that, ow.
And pretend to be in one of their favorite movies.
All right, let's get to filming.
And to make sure this silver scene recreation is spot on, the bike and Buster get a makeover by the wardrobe department.
It looks good.
And Buster is given no choice about his participation in the upcoming stunt.
That's how the old Hollywood stuntmen used to do it. Wire me in, they'd scream. Buster's old school.
With our very own member of the Third Reich on his bike, the guys, with the help of Matt the Pyro, prepare the mortar that'll send Buster into the air.
We've got this mortar with a plate right on top of it. That plate is welded to the bottom of the motorcycle. It's very secure. When that gunpowder goes off, the plate is going to go up, and that's all there is to it, except for one thing, and that is any air in the mortar would compress.
Going back on?
So to deal with that problem, we've put sand in there. The sand will not compress, and it also adds a certain mass that will literally push the bike up in the air without us having to use massive quantities of explosives, which would cause other problems.
With Jamie applying the finishing touches, Adam takes delivery of the final piece of the puzzle.
Dude, I totally want one of these.
So now, Adam's got the ride to go with the outfit.
Awesome. Look, it's got a seat for Jamie and everything.
Cue one very happy, geeky TV host.
Have you ever heard the term nerdgasm?
And with that out of his system, it's stunt time.
It's like nerd fantasy camp. Okay, so here's how the MythBusters big budget movie shot is gonna break down. Jamie and I will start the motorcycle and sidecar about 100 feet behind our stunt cycle. We're gonna drive right past it, and then we'll get 100 feet ahead of it. The pyro's gonna detonate the charge in this. Our stunt buster is gonna fly up in the air end over end, and the long lens that we're shooting it from is gonna make it look like we're a lot closer to the explosion than we actually are. You ready, old man? You got a taste for adventure? Okay. Here we go.
So everyone, including Buster, is all set. Adam and Jamie roll up to speed, and Matt waits with his finger on the detonator. To get the shot, the timing, camera angle, and flight of the bike has to be just so. And that couldn't have gone better.
Well, the timing was perfect.
If you say so, Junior.
Well, let's check the footage. The mortar exploded as Adam and Jamie hit their mark. And Buster, the chasing Nazi with the stick in the spokes, goes head over handlebars.
Oh, awesome.
I'm seeing it go ass over tea kettle.
That's exactly what it looks like in the movie.
Yep, as a quick comparison confirms, the guys got the shot.
It's beautiful.
So you may watch this and still think, well, I think it could happen if the motorcycle under the right conditions. Let me point out, this stick in the wheel made the motorcycle skid. How much energy did it take to make the bike go completely vertical? Enough energy to crush this 3/8 inch thick steel plate and crack the frame in like 19 different places. That's a hell of a lot more energy than you can generate with a wooden stick. Myth busted. And now Buster, for doing such a good job, gets his reward. He really likes it this way. Nice work, Buster! Nice work!
You know, at this point, we've done over 500 myths, and we get them from the internet, from movies, but the most important source is from you, the audience. So if you've got a myth for us to test, we'd love to hear about it. Log on to discovery.com/mythbusters, and if it's any good, we'll use it.
In this episode of MythBusters, get ready to rot.
That pig's gonna be one big bag of maggots.
Heard about the car with a big smell that won't sell?
The smell from over here is horrifying.
There's a terrible stink as an experiment goes too far. Plus, Dummy and Dumber, a MythBusters superstar chases a raccoon down the drain to test the myth and blows a hole in the story. Who are the MythBusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I always enjoyed seeing Adam in pain.
Oh! And Jamie Heineman.
Jamie wants big boom.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
Feel kind of sexy.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. For our myth-busting heroes, testing tall tales is a mix of danger and stupidity.
Oh!
Shocks and shake-ups. And a liberal dose of their old favorite, explosions.
Well, I tell you what, you know that.
Usually it's a laugh and a test of wits. with the occasional tantrum.
I don't care, actually, Adam.
But are they about to meet their myth-busting match?
All hands on deck.
This experiment will take them into a world of putrid pain.
Christ, now I just got a really bad whiff of it.
Adam and Jamie want to test the myth of the stinky car.
This actually is perfect for us, this one. It's kind of gross, but it's excellent. It's been told for years. And the idea is always the same, that a really valuable car is on the market for a great price. No one will buy it because of the smell. Turns out that someone has died in the car, and even though they've attempted to clean out the smell, it still persists, and even at this great price, no one will buy it.
Our queen of folklore, Heather Joseph Witham, picks up the scent of this story.
You've got a young guy who wants a really hot car, usually a sports car. And young guys can't afford sports cars, and they can't afford nice cars, certainly. So this is the only way that this sort of blue-collar, working-class young guy is going to be able to get such an awesome car. But sort of the moral of the story is that the blue-collar guy never can get something that he won't be able to afford like this unless it literally stinks.
So what are the ingredients in this recipe for rankness? We need a car, and to simulate a rotting human, a pair of pigs that have died of natural causes. The method to the madness is simple, on paper anyway. Put pigs in car, leave to simmer for 2 months, then see if you can clean up the mess and sell the car.
I expect that this is going to be pretty bad, actually. I'm not looking forward to it, and yet I am.
Let's work on the least disgusting part first, buying a second-hand sports car.
Boy, are you guys on schedule or what?
Are you Tom?
Yeah, I recognize you two.
Tom has an '87 Corvette for sale that looks about right.
This is my baby. Looks pretty good.
This is Tom's 5th Corvette. It's a love affair that's been running since the 60s.
Has anyone died in this Corvette?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge?
No.
Have you heard about the myth of a car that was so stinky that no one would buy it, even though it was a really good deal?
No.
Okay, time for a test drive.
I always like a car that's got 4 or 5 controls just for your ass. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
That Corvette is a nice looking car. You know, it's really sleek, really sexy Americana.
Okay, there's some power there.
Oh,
more than I'm used to.
The Corvette was the first all-American sports car. Chevrolet began production in 1953, and these stylish muscle cars quickly became classics. They've been building Corvettes ever since, 1 million on the road today. And at the wheel of every one of those cars is a very passionate Corvette fan.
What we're about to do to that Corvette is going to make a lot of veteran Corvette owners all over America squirm. You know, I mean, this is an absolutely horrible thing to do to a beautiful car.
Okay, that was fun. You'll enjoy driving this back to San Francisco. I think we should get it.
Yeah, I like it, and I think it's hot.
It's a done deal. But for Tom, there's a little twist in this transaction.
Farther than that.
Oh, really?
You want to tell him?
Oh, we have, waiting eagerly for this car, a recently dead pig that we're going to put in there and let it sit for about maybe a month or 2. And I wondered what you feel about that.
Well, not real happy, to tell you the truth. I mean, because it's a really nice car.
What do you think all the other Corvette owners across America are going to be thinking about this when they see it on air?
When you put a dead pig in here, they're going to think you're nuts.
They may be right. Yeah, baby.
Time to take this machine back to the MythBusters workshop and get it ready to rot.
Adios.
That's the last time this thing's going to be driving for a while.
Well, we've got wheels. Now we need squeals. To find a pair of pigs, Jamie and Adam have to go on safari. Welcome to Bischoff's, taxidermists to the stars, supplying stuffed stuff for films and TV. Gary here has an animal for every occasion.
Have our jaguars and our leopards here, and our whole bird area. Some of our favorite stuff is our stand-ins, like this little guy over here, one of our stars you might recognize from one of the movies. It's our little pug. This was Men in Black 2. He's been taxidermied and preserved for the movie industry.
So these things, by and large, are dying of natural causes, then?
Yes, yeah. These animals are all natural causes. We don't go out and get animals and kill them for the movies at all.
He's got little pockets in his claws.
This is a scary freezer. Do you keep a separate freezer for, like food? Popsicles.
Yeah, does anyone have their lunch in here?
Ice cream.
No sign of the other white meat in there. Maybe it's time to pop the question.
We need to get a hold of some pigs for this project that we're doing. Pigs that have died from natural causes.
We'll put in a call and say we need 2, 3 pigs, whatever it is, and they'll search and they'll call us when they come up with it.
We ask Gary for the whole pig. That means the guts, the animal, everything that a pig naturally dies with. Because as it turns out, it's not all that easy to get a hold of that through like a butcher or other things. We want to replicate what a human would be like if that person died in a car.
It's a whole new fashion statement.
A week and a half later, the pigs are here.
Oh. I've got a dead pig in the truck.
They have just died of natural causes on a farm. The funky phase of this experiment is about to begin.
No, I'm gonna tape these up, man. I don't want this touching me anywhere. I'm ready to put on a second painter suit. We're also gonna test how good these actually are. There we go. I feel ready to tackle the pig.
Oh, yeah.
As the boys struggle to get a grip on their stunt hogs, a nose-withering stench begins to take hold of them, the air, and everything these putrid porkers come near.
Hey.
I think it's already hard to sell this car.
All right, let's close it up.
Well, we'll come back in 3 months and see how it looks.
Not so fast, Adam. There's still a few little ham-fisted hiccups coming your way.
How come the lights are on? Are they pressing on a brake or something?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The pig is pressing on a brake. In fact, I'll say that there's nothing we can do about it.
Rather than face the horror of more pig wrestling, Adam decides to disconnect the battery instead of moving the pig off the brake. It's a shortcut that will come back to haunt him. Next step, seal the vehicle.
That pig's going to be one big bag of maggots, and at some point I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't kind of like start to inflate and then explode, spewing stuff everywhere in the car.
I still don't have a problem with pork. I can go right out tonight and have, some glazed ham. Damn, it still stinks. That guy missed the party. He's all like, yo, let me in, dudes. Yo, I know you got some good snacks in there. And they're all like, yo, dudes, we got all our kids in here. We can't let you in.
The Corvette is finally locked and loaded, but there's still a hint of trouble in the air.
Yeah, now I just got a really bad whiff of it.
My main concern is that the cars seal them up. I really would just as soon not have that horrific odor in front of my shop for the next 6 months. I don't want the smell getting out of the car.
And right now, Jamie is convinced that smell has broken out and is making a dash for freedom. He reopens the car and tries to seal it even further.
What's going on, hombre?
Hop in, you want to take a ride?
Thanks, but no.
Well, it seems that the car's not as well sealed up as we thought.
Someone's sloppy work is a little stinky, too.
You didn't really do that good of a job of taping it up.
No, I didn't.
The smell, well, it's not like really, really powerful. It's just extremely pervasive. So the tiniest bit of it drives everybody nuts.
The car also has to be moved, and that turns one of their earlier quick fixes into a big problem.
The hardest part about this whole deal is we got to get the little pig off the brake.
We got to get the little pig off the brake?
Yeah.
Oh. Damn.
It's going to be kind of like surgery getting that damn thing out of there. And it's not pretty.
Ah, yeah.
Jamie and Adam thought parking 2 pigs in a car would be easy.
We're gonna need more people.
But it's turned into a marathon with more to come.
Hey, all right, that's good. Stop. Okay, well, I'm now gonna be lifting that up.
You're gonna be licking that up?
Yeah, that's it.
Did he say he's gonna be licking that up?
Even taping this Corvette into a modern-day sarcophagus isn't going to be enough for Jamie. Next, he calls in a pyramid for its burial, a hopefully smell-proof shipping container.
We're just turning it hard. Push it back a little further.
That was incredible, you people. Fabulous. I didn't think it was possible.
Ominously crawling around the floor of the container are first maggots, a taste of the trauma to come. For now, the car is sealed and set to stew for 2 months. Will it set a new benchmark for stench? Find out later in the show when the real horror of the stinky car begins.
Woo! This is horrifying.
Roll up for the greatest MythBusters show on Earth. How could a rat up a drain pipe, a roasted toy raccoon, and a sharp-dressed dummy turn into a disaster area? Take your seat as we ride the raccoon rocket.
In 1998, in Carbon County, Pennsylvania, apparently some good old boys, from the sounds of it, were hanging out on their porch drinking beer, and they saw a raccoon go by, and so they all opened fire on it.
So they noticed that the raccoon's taken refuge in a drainage pipe. So one of the smart fellows goes over to the drainage pipe and he pours gasoline down there and he tries to light it.
Unsuccessful at doing this, one of them decided to go down into the pipe to better light the gasoline and get the raccoon out, at which point the gasoline actually did ignite and it shot this guy out the tube at a high rate of speed.
He goes shooting straight out of this pipe and he flies about 200 feet right over the house and falls and manages to get up relatively unharmed.
Well, it sounds like we have all the information we need to proceed. What is the plan? Have you got a plan?
Well, we need a big-ass pipe, I guess a sewer pipe. It's got to be 20 feet long, 3 feet in diameter. We got to have 5 gallons of gasoline. We have to have some means of igniting it safely from a distance.
I have one more question about this.
What's that?
Which one of us is going to get launched from this pipe?
Well, you, of course.
You know, much as I'd like to do it, it sounds to me like it's a job for Buster.
Buster is the silent partner of the MythBusters team, a long-suffering crash test dummy.
I am making a new knee for the crash test dummy. We have busted him up so fully that both of his knees are completely shattered.
Weighing in at 180 pounds and standing 5 foot 10 inches tall, Buster represents roughly 95% of the United States adult male population. His role is to behave just like a human would in extreme situations, something he excelled at for many years when he crashed cars for a living. Since joining the MythBusters, he's been through hell and high water, all without a word of complaint.
Well, what's next in line for Buster is to put him in a 3-foot pipe with a bunch of gasoline and maybe even gunpowder and see if we can launch him like a cannonball.
Before Buster becomes a cannonball, Jamie and Adam need to find the cannon. That means a trip across town in search of some monster drainage pipe.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
Andy.
Adam.
Nice to meet you guys.
How you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
I think we're here to pick up some really big pipe.
It's a pipe lover's paradise.
What's this stuff normally used for?
Storm and sewer drain, mostly storm water.
Bingo! Storm water drains, 3 feet wide. Exactly the kind of drain a terrified raccoon and its boozy pursuer might stumble down. Adam tries it out for size.
That's pretty cool. You know, it makes me want to like... All right, that's enough of that.
After a peek at the pipe, Jamie's mustache is twitching.
It's all a whole bunch of stupid stuff.
The more he thinks about this wild raccoon chase, the more he thinks it's the truth that's gone down the drain.
The biggest problem that I see is that you can see that I fit pretty easily in this pipe, and there's a lot of room around me, a lot of air room. And so even if there is a big blast, all this air is just going to go right past me if there's no seal.
Thank you. This is one of the rare occurrences where Jamie and I agree all the way down the line on this. He's right. It's the problems are myriad. The myth is almost patently ridiculous just on its face.
But when there's a hint of flames or explosions in the air, the MythBusters will make it happen.
I think one way or another, we are going to propel that dummy quite energetically out the end of this tube. I don't think it's going to work quite the way the myth says, though.
Let's bring on this raccoon.
Back in the workshop, Adam creates a remote you won't lose under your couch.
I've got this lighter rig, which we've used before on MythBusters. It lights a lighter remotely, and in the past I've always used cable, like bicycle cable, and it's never been quite reliable, so this time I'm going to actually go with a small pneumatic cylinder, which will go and light the lighter that way.
This will let him light the gasoline in the pipe from a safe distance.
It works. Excellent. So, it is the world's most complicated lighter.
Now, fully recovered from knee surgery, Buster needs to be dressed for the occasion. This stylish woolen sweater and slacks outfit will protect our dummy from looking unfashionable and save him from melting. The fabric of choice for firefighters and Formula One drivers, wool is one of the most fireproof fabrics you can wear. It does not melt, and it does not support a flame.
Yeah, you know, I don't think Buster's ever looked so fashionable. I mean, dude, you are looking sharp.
Time to grab a $25.98 toy raccoon and put this myth to the test. Our firing range is an abandoned airfield on the outskirts of San Francisco. Job number 1, get that pipe into launch position. For this, our boys will need a nice new toy.
I think this is the biggest thing we've driven yet. Very, very, very cool.
Yeah. But does anyone know how to drive this thing?
So did you get any instructions on it?
I did not.
A few quick tips from the backhoe delivery man, and Adam is an instant expert.
This goes side to side to side. You can drop this pin in the center.
Okay.
And it'll
lock it.
Yeah, it'll lock it from going like this.
That was fun.
I'm gonna back it up a little bit more.
Yep.
It's like a secret escape hatch.
Woo! Ah! You know, he's taking an awful long time to do this. I think he's having just a bit too much fun.
Finally, our cannon is in position.
Well, we've just covered the pipe with dirt, and so I guess we're gonna pour some gasoline down there and light it with the dummy in the tube. We pretty well know that nothing's gonna happen.
We'll get a big whoosh of gasoline out of both sides of this tube, but besides that, it's not gonna launch this dummy in any way.
The stunt is ready. So where's the fall guy? For extra fireproofing, Buster gets a dressing down with a special flame retardant gel.
Okay, so we're gonna shove him about 3 feet up in there.
Yeah, feet first, because his head's got to be down, like he scooched down the pipe with a lighter and was like, you know, that kind of business.
The scene is set exactly according to the myth. We have one not-so-smart man, Buster, who's crawled down a 3-foot-wide drainage pipe chasing a raccoon.
Like that. There we go.
Like this?
Yeah.
The raccoon's probably all the way at the very end, you know, up against like a steel grate or something like that. So he's probably like right here, trying to be as threatening as a raccoon soaked with gasoline can be.
Okay.
Let me get my automatic match.
The MythBusters team gets ready for launch. Cameras will cover it from every angle. Sensitive equipment is protected by a bulletproof plastic shield. A baby fire truck is at the ready. And it's Big Daddy, just in case.
Excited, we're gonna blow some stuff up, then we go home.
Now, Jamie adds the final element, 5 gallons of gasoline.
Okay, it's kind of a lot. Oh, it's kind of really a lot. It's a lot of gasoline pouring out of there.
That's it.
That's it. All right, get out of there. Okay, here we go. Standing over here with me, Jamie?
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1.
0. Nothing happens.
Tell me if you see it lighting.
Yeah, I don't see any flame.
Seems that pesky raccoon slipped down onto the lighter. He's repositioned, and we are clear for launch.
Okay, here we go. There we go. We have ignition. Put it out now. Go. Well, that wasn't nothing at all.
Nope.
That was like a little campfire.
Well, it probably would have set the whole tube on fire after a while. It singed the heck out of our raccoon.
Let's see how our raccoon did.
That's one piping hot toy raccoon, all right, but not much else, and certainly not enough to satisfy the destructive desires of these 2 strange men.
The myth is in fact busted.
But there's always 2 parts to a MythBusters story. There's replicating the myth, and then there's duplicating the result. And we replicated the myth, we got nothing. Now it's time to see what it takes to launch him out of that tube. I think we're gonna have to go back to the shop and think this one through. It's not trivial to turn this 20-foot-long tube into a human cannon. We can't just put gunpowder behind him and hope it'll launch him. It's just gonna blow him up.
Back in the shop, Jamie's mind contorts around a devilish conundrum.
We pretty well know that the dummy's not going to get launched out of the tube, you know, just by sitting there. So we've got to put a container around it that actually remotely seals the dummy in the tube.
He needs to make a tricky device called a sabot. In the world of weaponry, a sabot is used when a specialized bullet or projectile is too small for the barrel of a gun. The sabot fits around the bullet to seal the chamber, so the blast from the gunpowder can send it firing out of the barrel. It's hard enough remembering how to say sabot. Now, Jamie has to work out what to make one from.
That's about 2 feet, so darn, that tube's big. It's gonna make me work.
What about stretching a car inner tube around that and inflating that and squeezing that between a couple pieces of ply?
These two professional problem solvers go into the MythBusters mind meld.
Put two of them around there and then they gasket to each other. We fill them just up enough.
Stretch it out onto there. We could probably
back it, I'd say, with one piece of ply.
Around that would make a very dense thing.
Suppose it's just like 4 gaskets of plywood.
Out of the brain blender comes a juicy plan. The sabot will be molded from foam.
Oh, Jamie, that's beautiful.
Easy as pie. But, usually things don't work this easy.
35, geez, you're within a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, seems like it should be perfect. So without this thing, gases would just go past the dummy and not propel him. With it, it blocks the chamber, and hopefully it will carry the dummy with it out of the barrel. The sabot will fall away in its 4 parts as we've designed it, and the dummy will continue on his trajectory.
Let's hope the plan stays on target, because back on the firing range, we are now working with dangerous explosives.
Second circuit, just to the end of the tube here, and then if we have a problem in the first circuit, we'll just tie into this.
Sounds good. So I'll tie this on and throw it on?
We want to fire a 180-pound projectile 200 feet. So, how much gunpowder will we need? Well, in World War II, the guns of the mighty U.S. battleship Missouri used 660 pounds of explosive powder to launch 2,700-pound projectiles with a range of up to 23 miles. There are no records of raccoons being present on the USS Missouri.
Back up on the backup. Preparing to launch.
John McLeod normally creates pyrotechnics for Hollywood films. Today, he's cooking up a different kind of blockbuster.
We're using 10 1-pound cans of the GoX black powder. That should give us a pretty good bang.
Buster is locked in the sabot and loaded into the pipe.
Okay. Shove it in. Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby.
Okay, we need a little more push here.
All right, here we go.
Okay, ready? That's good, right?
Well, that's tight, huh?
That's pretty good.
Cue the bomb.
So that's the 10-pounder, isn't it?
It's a 10-pounder.
Don't look like much.
Not until it goes off.
The local geese are heading south to safety.
You think they can tell we're about to blow something up?
John will use an electric detonator to ignite the powder. With the wiring all checked, it's time to seal the end of the pipe.
Look at that, that's perfect. All right, I'm gonna bury it.
The pipe must be plugged to direct the force from the blast towards Buster and send him out the other end of the tube. Will it work? That's in the lap of the gunpowder gods.
I think if any, the worst thing that could happen was it would rupture the back end of the tube and maybe shoot dirt and sand and possibly little rocks.
It's also, I'd say 50% likely that it stays back there in the tube and the whole thing just blows up. That's totally acceptable to me as well.
The whole damn thing could blow up for all we know, but our best shot is that it's going to come out of there, and it's going to come out really fast, and it's going to look really cool.
Jamie is so confident, he's parking Buster's wheelchair right where he thinks he'll land.
Jamie, you hoping to catch him?
Yeah.
All right, that's about the most optimistic thing I've ever heard. If you catch him, I'll give you $100.
Okay, let's put this Big Bang Theory into practice.
You got some, you want to put some protection on there?
I think I'm all right.
He thinks he's all right.
Firing in 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God!
I almost made the chair.
You almost made the chair.
We've got 2 very excited MythBusters on our hands.
He survived! Buster survived!
Already.
Oh! Woo!
Came out there with some horsepower.
How you feeling, buddy?
It worked absolutely perfectly. I was off by about 5 or 10 feet.
Buster heroically executed a textbook superhero-style exit from the cannon.
Oh my God!
You know, I got to say, I think we planned this whole thing really well. The sabot worked. He did launch a significant distance out of the barrel.
The myth says 200 feet that the guy lived. I tell you, watching that dummy land, there's no way he would have lived at that distance, let alone that distance again. This myth is just, I mean, complete and utter lunacy to think that it's true. Well, Buster, how you feeling, man? What do you think? Raccoon rocket, true or busted? What do you think, Jamie?
I'd say it's pretty effectively busted. You know, we would have died if we'd been in Buster's place, that's for sure.
Man, he is a little worse for wear.
You've heard the fairy tale of the 3 little pigs, right? Well, in this myth-busting moral, one got away, and the other 2 have been quietly decomposing in a 1987 Corvette for 2 months. Huffing and puffing? You bet. The moment Jamie and Adam open the doors of that car. And it might be the MythBusters house that gets blown down. They're testing the myth that if someone dies in a car, it can get so stinky you can't clean it and you can't sell it. Time to call in an expert in extreme cleaning. Neil Smither runs a business called Crime Scene Cleaners.
It's a cleaning maintenance service specializing in biohazard, primarily homicides, suicides, accidental deaths. We're really known now for doing just extreme cleanups, stuff other people just won't mess with.
He knows exactly what the stinky car of the myth would smell like.
And that smell, you can taste it. You just can't even describe it. It's such a unique flavor, but you know instantly what it is.
Time for Jamie and Adam to get their hands dirty on a training run with the Crime Scene Cleaners.
We're here cleaning up a coroner's van.
I expect to learn a lot about their protocol, how they approach moving through a vehicle to find the smells, and I think that's going to be invaluable to cleaning out the Corvette.
That's not residue from melted popsicles, you know? It's the real deal.
I'm afraid I'm not quite as enthusiastic as the owner of this company is about this kind of work, but it'll be interesting.
Let's start with cleaning the top of it.
Have you heard the myth of the stinky car that can't be sold?
I have heard that. It's a fallacy. Totally.
What was that?
It's a fallacy.
You can get the smell out? Wait a minute. Now that's a big news flash for Jamie and Adam.
So what you're telling me is that there's no smell that you can't get out, is that right?
Yeah, I think if you clean it correctly, there's no smell that we can't get out so far. And we've done some radical smells.
There's a methodical, meticulous approach to this kind of cleaning.
Thanks. Knock yourself out.
All right.
Any speck of scum that's missed will keep on stinking. The boys have discovered that Neil uses a special enzyme-based cleaner to wipe out really bad smells.
The enzyme secret mix that we haven't been informed the contents of.
This may just hold the key to getting the Corvette clean. The enzymes create a chemical reaction with organic materials, speeding up their breakdown into smaller, simpler pieces. Just like the enzymes in your saliva start breaking down food from the first bite.
It's hot.
This warm-up bout with the Crime Scene Cleaners is a success. Invaluable training for Jamie and Adam's upcoming fight against the funk.
Well, you know, it's really helpful to talk to a professional about this kind of thing. You know, we just kind of go in and start doing it.
I thought the myth was entirely possible and plausible when I first heard it, but talking to Neil and seeing how well this stuff works, I think we might be able to clean this car out, and it might not smell at all.
Either it is cleanable with the enzyme or it gets ripped out, and we will get that car clean.
Brave words.
We will get that car clean. We will get that car clean.
So, let's put that confidence to the test. It's been 2 months since this car was turned into a stink bomb. Now, it's Judgment Day. Time to terminate any fresh air on the MythBusters doorstep and open that awful container. Watching on is the nose that always knows, Neil, the extreme cleaner.
I'm catching whiffs here and there, and it's pretty typical. I'll have a better indicator once we get in, but right now it just smells like standard death.
All right, well. Oh, man.
And while our rookie cleaners look like they're ready to enter Chernobyl, the pro calmly knocks back even a nose clip.
No, I'm okay. It's not that bad.
Now the car has to be rolled out of the container and into the yard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's foul. They're not gonna bite. Climb in.
All right. Here we go.
Go for it, Heineman. Oh, man.
Well, one thing that bothers me is that it's raining in there. Like any place that I move around, I'm like gonna get covered with, I hope these things are waterproof. Are these waterproof?
Not really. I mean, those are more than anything else. I would just hurry up, just get it done.
Oh my God! That is horrible.
The pig's sort of like sealing off the whole area. It's like flowed over the parking brake.
He's gonna have to think awfully fast, coated with gore.
All right, we're moving the sandbag here.
Yeah.
Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes.
Then, an unforeseen drama. The decaying pigs have given off ammonia, a potentially fatal gas that almost overcomes Jamie.
Woo! How you doing, Jamie?
It's the ammonia. It's not the smell. I was not getting any air. It's not a spew. I was going to pass out.
Because the Corvette was sealed so carefully, the gas was trapped and concentrated inside the car.
Stop.
Oh, man.
It's the ammonia. It's not, the filter's not handling it. I need a separate air source.
Oh my God.
This thing was useless.
As the whole grotesque reality of this car lover's catastrophe hits home, the MythBusters are reeling. Jamie looks like he's about to pass out. And our own Mr. Confidence is going a little weak at the knees.
No way. No way. There's no way we're cleaning this thing. This is horrifying.
I think, having to get in there and close the car with these two remnants of creatures was probably one of the more horrible things I've ever had to do.
What's the worst thing you can imagine?
Hey, Adam.
I can't get past this. Oh, it's disintegrating. Oh.
The ever-helpful Neil is just glad it's not him.
I would just put a bunch of paper towels in and let the paper towels soak up as much of that liquid as you can, because you're gonna have to get in there.
Yeah.
Literally laying down to get to the bolts. Are you gonna lay in that puddle?
I really, I won't be sad when this day is over.
This is a severe cleanup, no doubt about it.
Oh, man. Oh. Oh, God.
They're not prepared for this cleanup at all.
I gotta say, this respirator works really good, because the smell even from over here is horrifying. Oh, my glasses are on. I'm gonna move over here.
When you pull the seats, you better have something to contain them, because they're gonna pour liquid.
The carpets, the seats, the door panels, all history. And there's a lot of work left.
Well, we got all of the wet stuff out of there. There's still little dribbles here and there, but, shoot, we must have removed about 300-400 pounds of wet something.
I have to say, I didn't expect that this would happen, but I see myself as a vegetarian for at least the next couple of weeks.
Don't want to do that again.
Now, Jamie and Adam try out the tip they got from Neil, the crime scene cleaner, using a special bioenzyme fluid to cut through all the organic gunk. They're praying this might give them an edge in the war on stinkiness.
The quantity of flies has decreased. We've been doing something.
Well, I know we've been doing something.
Something the flies don't like.
Something's really bad right here.
Now it smells like a diaper, a really bad diaper.
If my baby's poo smelled like that, I'd take him to the hospital immediately.
After a full day of frantic, forensic scrubbing, the boys are coming to grips with a grim possibility. Corvette lovers, cover your ears. This car may never drive again.
Are we actually cleaning a car to get the stink out, or are we just removing all the stinky bits and ending up with a parts car?
Seats were so bad that they were just falling apart. So what are you gonna do? If they cost $6 grand, the car's not worth that.
I think we can get the stink out, but I'm not sure that we end up with something that's really a car.
We can safely say one part of this story is true.
It is possible for somebody to die in a car and ruin it.
But can it be completely clean?
Even Neil said it would take his boys several days to get rid of every last thing and put it back together again.
There's no doubt in my mind that we could resurrect the car. The only question is whether it's practical or not.
I mean, the place where I think you would never get it out is like all the air conditioning system and the ducts and stuff. I know all that stinks. We could clean the car perfectly and be like, it's done. And we turn on the AC and be like, oh, you know.
Given the way the car smells now, even selling it for parts is going to be pretty difficult.
I tell you, if I took one drop of the juice we cleaned up yesterday and put it in your car, you'd want to sell your car.
So what's the final verdict from the MythBusters? Jamie would be quite happy never to see that car again.
Oh man, that is nasty.
That myth's busted. There's no way you're going to sell the car after that.
You know, Jamie, I want to get away from this smell as much as you do, but unfortunately, we said we'd make a stinky car, that we'd try and clean it out, and that we'd sell it. So we got to go through the third phase. We got to try and sell that car, even if it's only for parts.
Bummer.
1 week after an infernal cleanup, it's time to sell. But will they find a buyer?
Knowing how bad it was, it's not nearly that bad. But it's worse than anything anybody else but me and Jamie have ever smelled.
It smells more like a barnyard now.
No, the smell hasn't gone, and the car isn't going anywhere either.
What is that? Ready?
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm not sure I'm getting any power at all to anything.
Really would it be helpful to get it started to sell it?
The fuse box is fried.
Yeah, this is all corroded. It's all green in here.
Maybe some more scrubbing will work.
How is this doing over here?
I'm gonna try and start it again.
I'm not getting squat. Are you sure it's hooked up?
Yep.
Positive and all that?
You bet.
Adam is ready to raise the white flag.
Now we push.
But Jamie is determined to get this car started.
It's just a little bit of corrosion is all we're talking about. It's a real simple thing if we can find the spot.
Like the engine's fine. We should be able to sell it better if the engine's running.
You know, you can't really ask a lot of money for a car that doesn't start with no interior.
If I can find the starter solenoid, then we can jump it.
It's a total Jamie thing to like pursue these avenues that seem completely ridiculous and end up with total success. It's really unnerving.
Eventually, Jamie admits defeat.
You gonna help push?
No, I was gonna watch from up here. You guys doing any work at all? I think I'm carrying this whole thing.
It seems like we trashed this car, and that's all we did. Like, we put some pigs in it, it ruined the car, and it's junk.
I think the question is, how much money can we get for a big piece of stinking junk?
Not very much.
Let's clean it, close it, sell it off.
It won't start, and it stinks of dead pig, but it will look good. Time to place an ad on the internet to entice some buyers with an unbelievably cheap 87 Corvette.
All right, so we want to sell this car. What should be in the ad?
Well, I guess we should just list the good things about it. It's like shiny, it's got a good finish on it.
Shiny.
It's got good wheels and tires.
It's a great parts car. We lost the interior.
Yeah, we just lost it.
Hidden cameras are set up to secretly record the reactions of unsuspecting buyers. So, who will buy this slightly soiled vehicle? Maybe a die-hard Corvette lover.
I didn't know it was gutted.
Yeah, well...
Is that how you bought it?
No, don't like that, huh?
Jamie will have to do the hard sell on this one.
I mean, we're only asking
Yeah.
$3,000 for it. You could, yeah. So you could take it for parts. The wheels alone are worth like $700-800, and still not impressed.
No, I wonder how much that smell seeped into the fiberglass.
No sale. The guy from the junkyard has a sniff.
Jesus, that stink.
Right.
Well, I think it's worth about $500.
Well, we're definitely going to wait for better offers than that.
So does it even start?
How about this gentleman?
So is there an interior for it?
No.
It's a smell.
He seems kind of interested.
How many miles does it have?
It's got I think it's got a $250,000, but it's only 50,000 on on this engine.
Well, I'll let you know if I'm interested.
All right.
After sleeping on it, he becomes our buyer.
Yes, sir. What are you going to do with the car?
We're probably going to part it out. I'm interested in the engine and the transmission.
The stinky car is going cheap.
A couple of things.
Only $2,000.
There's the title and the keys.
But at least it's finally gone.
So there you go, man. No shortage of buyers. I don't think that there's a car in the world that's too stinky to sell.
If somebody dies in a car, it can easily get so bad in there that you're not going to just kind of wash it with some Windex and some stuff like that and be able to sell it like it was.
I think we busted both halves of this one.
I guess we did, didn't we?
I still can't get that taste out of my mouth, though.
God, what a horrible thing that was.
Absolutely.
Horrible.
Horrifying. Horrifying.
That was something else. I'll remember that the rest of my life.